I was discriminated all my life because of my golden child sister. I finally got revenge. Before I continue, subscribe now and hit the notification bell to stay updated with shocking, unbelievable, and weird real-life stories happening around you. From the moment I could understand what favoritism looked like, I knew I wasn't the favorite. My sister, oh, my golden sister, was the crown jewel of our family. Everything revolved around her. The sun practically rose and set with her smile, according to my parents. And me? I was just there, the extra. If she so much as sneezed and blamed it on me, my parents would rush in with punishment and scolding, like I'd poisoned the air itself. But when the roles reversed, even if I showed proof, like handwritten notes or an actual witness, nothing. She'd get a soft, "Don't do that again." And somehow, I'd still get the side eye and a long lecture on how I shouldn't provoke her. Birthdays were the worst. Every year, I'd secretly hope things would be different. Just once, I wanted my favorite cake. Just once, I wanted a celebration that felt like mine. But no. Every single year, we had her favorite, chocolate mousse with that weird jelly glaze I hated. And they'd all act surprised. "Oh, you don't like it? Really? We thought you did." Every single year. I remember my 10th birthday vividly. I had begged for a vanilla cake with strawberries. When I walked into the living room and saw the same tired chocolate mousse on the table, my heart sank. My sister smirked from across the room, licking her fingers before the candles were even lit. And when I refused a slice, my mom said I was being ungrateful, that I didn't deserve a celebration if I couldn't appreciate what they managed to put together. Presents? Don't make me laugh. She always got more expensive, more thoughtful, more everything. One year, I got a secondhand book while she got a brand new tablet. My dad said it was because she needed it for school. So what did I need? Just to learn how to be happy for others, apparently. Even on trips, if it was meant to be about me, it still somehow became about her. I remember this one family day out that was supposed to be my treat for getting good grades. I wanted to go to the amusement park. We ended up at the art museum, because my sister liked the quiet, and we all needed to learn to compromise. Guess who didn't get to ride the roller coaster that day? Me. But I did get to watch her nap on a bench for 3 hours. That was my childhood. A constant reminder that no matter what I did, no matter how good I was, I would never outshine the golden child. And maybe, just maybe, that's where the quiet resentment started to bloom. As we got older, the difference in how we were treated only grew sharper, like a knife that refused to dull. My sister flourished in her little bubble of entitlement, while I learned early how to swallow feelings, lower expectations, and keep my head down. At first, she mostly ignored me. I was a shadow she didn't have time for. But once we hit our teens, things took a turn. She became meaner, nastier. It was like she suddenly realized I existed, and decided that was a problem. Maybe it was because I started gaining some attention at school. Maybe it was because she lost hers. She didn't have any real friends anymore, and I noticed. At school, I'd pass by her in the hallway, always alone, scrolling through her phone like it was the only thing keeping her company. It wasn't like that before. She used to be surrounded, always laughing, loud and fake. But something shifted. I never asked her about it. Why would I? She never asked about me. Instead, she started using me as her emotional trash can. Little jabs at home turned into full-blown verbal attacks. If I wore something new, she'd say I was trying too hard. If someone complimented me, she'd scoff loud enough for everyone to hear. And yet, at family dinners, she'd be the perfect angel. My parents never saw the venom behind her sugar-sweet tone. Or maybe they did and just didn't care. They bragged about her like she was royalty. Every tiny achievement was paraded around like a trophy. She passed her math test. She helped a teacher carry books today. Meanwhile, I could win a debate competition, and the best I'd get was, "You talk too much. Don't let it get to your head." And when it came to me, they had jokes. My flaws became family punchlines. Always so sensitive. Can't take a little teasing. Why can't you be more like your sister? That one always stung the most. But I saw through it all. I saw how my sister's smile never reached her eyes anymore. I noticed she didn't go out. No hangouts, no calls, no visitors. I knew the names of her old friends, and I stopped hearing them completely. One day, I casually asked a classmate what happened. They just shrugged. "She's too much," they said. People got tired. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But the empathy faded each time she threw a jab my way. Each time she made me feel small, irrelevant, disposable. And my parents, God bless their blindness, still looked at her like she was made of gold. While I was just the reminder that not everything shiny stays bright. Everything changed when my sister noticed I was liked. Nothing serious. I wasn't the prom queen or anything, but I had friends, laughter, warmth. Things she'd long lost. And she hated that. Suddenly, I went from being an afterthought to her personal target. She ramped up the accusations, petty lies about my friends, my behavior, my attitude. And my parents? They soaked it all up like thirsty ground. They're not good people. My dad would say about my friends, people he'd never even met. Why are you always trying to leave us? My mom would add, as if hanging out with friends was an act of betrayal. Bit by bit, they clipped my wings. I'd come home from school, smiling from a fun afternoon, only to be grounded over something my sister made up. She said you skipped class. She said she saw you smoking. Lies. And still they listened. What saved me, truly, was our extended family. They weren't perfect, but they didn't see me through my sister's filter. My cousins liked me. They saw me. I clung to those little moments of normalcy at family gatherings like a lifeline. With them, I laughed freely. With them, I remembered who I was outside my house. And maybe that's when the scales began to tip. Just a little. One day, during a family hangout, my cousins invited me out. I sighed and said, I'm not allowed to go anywhere, because my sister doesn't have friends. I didn't mean it to land the way it did. But it did. It got back to the adults. And they were furious, not at me, but at my parents. There was yelling. Confrontations. My parents were embarrassed. They dragged me aside later, accused me of lying, grounded me for a month. But something changed after that. The leash loosened. Suddenly, I was allowed a little freedom. It wasn't much, but it was everything. Not long after, my sister changed schools. I heard whispers about her being humiliated, about cousins teasing her loneliness. She couldn't take it, and my parents, desperate to protect her image, paid more for her transfer, no questions asked. All because I told the truth. My first boyfriend didn't last. My sister flirted with him, then claimed I was being secretive. My parents believed her. It happened again with the second. Same script. Same ending. When I pointed out the pattern, they said I had poor judgment and shouldn't date at all. The relationships crumbled because of drama I didn't create. When it was my sister's turn to graduate, you'd think she got into Harvard the way my parents carried on. It was a mediocre school, no scholarship, but they spared no expense. Then came my turn. My mom pulled me aside, face full of fake sympathy. We can't pay for your college. We're already supporting your sister. I didn't even flinch. I knew they'd say that. Deep down, I think they expected me to give up. But I had other plans. I just nodded when my mom told me they couldn't afford my college because they were paying for my sister's. It wasn't a shock. It was just another chapter in the same old story. But this time I came prepared. I had applied for scholarships like my life depended on it. Because it did. I stayed up late, skipped hangouts, and poured every effort into my application essays. I didn't tell anyone. Not even my closest friends. I wanted it to be mine. My win. My escape. When the acceptance letter came, with a full scholarship, I just stared at it for a while. It felt like oxygen. Like maybe I could finally breathe. But I knew my family would try to suffocate that joy the moment they found out. So I posted it online. A glowing photo of the letter, a caption dripping with gratitude, and tags that ensured all the aunties and uncles saw it. My parents had no choice but to act proud. The congratulations poured in before they even had time to object. At first, they faked excitement. Smiles that didn't quite reach their eyes. But within days, they started poking holes. Are you sure you want to go so far away? Your sister isn't doing well in school. Shouldn't you stay close to help? Translation. How dare you succeed without us? But I was already packing my bags, in my head at least. For once, my life was moving in a direction they couldn't control. And I was not turning back. College was my freedom. For the first time, I could breathe without asking permission. And that's where I met him, my husband. He was nothing like what I'd grown up around. He didn't tiptoe around people's feelings or play politics with the truth. He spoke plainly, boldly, and stood his ground, even when it made others uncomfortable. I was drawn to that like a moth to flame. He listened when I spoke, like really listened. And when I told him about my family, everything, he didn't flinch. He didn't make excuses for them. He just said, "That's insane. You didn't deserve any of that." And for once, I believed it. We dated, got serious, and then decided to get married. It wasn't going to be a big thing, Just a simple ceremony in my hometown, surrounded by a few people we cared about. I wasn't doing it for show. I was doing it for me. Of course, we had to invite my parents, and they insisted on meeting him beforehand. He went alone. He actually looked forward to it. Might be fun, he said with a mischievous grin. I want to see what kind of madness built you. I laughed, but deep down I was nervous. What I didn't know was that their madness was about to reach a whole new level. My husband came back from meeting my parents, his face a mix of shock and disbelief. You won't believe what they asked, he said, barely holding back laughter. I raised an eyebrow. What now? They want your sister to walk down the aisle at your wedding. In a wedding dress. As if she's the bride. I froze. What? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are they serious? They're dead serious. They said it's not okay for a younger sister to marry first. They think it would be disrespectful to their precious golden child. My mind raced. This was insanity. Of course, I knew they'd always favored her, but this? This was beyond the pale. They were trying to overshadow my day with her drama. I looked at him, and something inside me clicked. This was the moment. I wasn't just going to play along with their nonsense. I was done being the obedient, overlooked one. It was my turn to take control. Here's what we're going to do, I said, my voice steady as the plan formed in my mind. We'd pretend to agree. We'd act like everything was fine and we were on their side. But when it came to the actual wedding day, that's when the real fun would begin. We'd hire security, real security, and not let my sister anywhere near the venue. No walking down the aisle. No spotlight. Nothing. My husband would play the part of the dutiful son-in-law, stringing them along. He'd pretend like he was okay with it, make them feel like they'd won. Meanwhile, I'd stay in the dark, acting clueless about the scheme. It would be the perfect ruse. And we'd make sure it was done with style. We kept everything under wraps, making sure no one saw through our act. As for my sister, let her think she was still the star of this show. Because when the time came, she wouldn't be getting a single second of attention. I wasn't going to let her steal my moment. This wedding, it would be mine. And I was going to make sure she never forgot it. On the wedding day, everything went exactly as planned. My sister, thinking she would steal the spotlight, showed up in a wedding dress, ready to walk down the aisle. But security was waiting for her, and she was blocked from going any further. The shock and embarrassment on her face were priceless, and my parents didn't know how to react. My husband and I stood there, knowing we had finally taken control. This wasn't just about getting married. It was about taking back my life, my happiness, and finally showing my family that I wouldn't be overshadowed anymore. In the end, I had my moment, and they couldn't take it from me.